You know, some people like to wear GoPros on their head and like film everything they do. That's completely antithetical to how I want to live my life. Some people, and I do film stuff that I build and do. I mean, I have hundreds of videos like that, but I make an enormous amount of videos sitting behind this desk. And I know for a lot of people that's depressing considering, you know, my fat face. You know, I'm completely pragmatic. One of my solid state drives containing 20 years worth of data collection on it. But I do build a lot of stuff, and I mean, I've been insanely busy today. There's a reason why I spent recently a few $100s on copper, and it's not because I like the looks of copper or something. It's because I'm building a coil in the basement. Here's some stuff I just cut off from downstairs. No, I'm not building a free energy device. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy people making crazy claims on the internet, and I don't do that. However, I did light up an LED using a Hallback array over top of a magnet, a very, very low power LED. Technically that is free energy, however, I don't know how free that is. I mean, you couldn't even read anything by it unless you put the book right up to the light and took your glasses off. You got really close. I want to talk about pragmatic nature of energy and undeniable facts. And by the way, this book is kind of downloadable all over the internet. I have 2 copies of it. This is my main copy that is heavily underlined and it's falling apart. This is Causality, Electromagnetic Induction, and Gravitation. Dr. Oli D. Jefimiko had 2 PhDs, a brilliant professor of electrical engineering. He was also a huge critic of Albert Einstein. Fundamentally, I wanted to make this video pretty short and simple, and that I was brought up as well as you were. And I also, too, thought for a very, very, very long time, but I always have an open mind, you know, criticizing incoming data. A totally open mind is a horrible thing because it lets in trash and nonsense. You actually have to have a gatekeeper at the entrance to your mind. I thought forever that free energy was completely impossible. I mean, I wasn't completely, you know, rock. My head was sealed up, you know, antithetical to, you know, listening to any logical evidence. And I know that is completely incorrect. Knowing what I know now from Jefimiko, Tesla, Faraday, Steinmetz, Heaviside, James Clerk Maxwell, and the rest, I know that free energy is not only possible, it's 100% possible. All so-called power generators that we're all familiar with don't actually generate power, they manifest power. And that sounds kind of like a nuance or a distinction without a difference. But it's actually a huge, huge difference. All hydroelectric, all nuclear power generator, which of course just creates steam, which turns a turbine, all wind, AC generators from, you know, countless input. They don't actually generate power. There's no connection between the water and, you know, nothing is transferred or transmogrification of one type of power source to another. It's not the case at all. The math says that, especially James Clerk Maxwell. My mind was opened up, and this book is not about free energy at all. It just makes, it talks about the math of power and the causal link that people think is causal, which is absolutely not causal. For one example among countless, as we've seen, neither Maxwell's equations nor their solutions indicate an existence of causal links between the electrical magnetic fields. Everyone has concluded electromagnetic fields a dual entity, always having an electrical magnetic component, simultaneously created by their common sources, time variable electrical discharges and currents. The point being, in getting into the nuance, which is a distinction with a difference, all forms of power generation on this earth, really, except for solar, really. Solar, we need to leave out of this for kind of obvious reasons, does not generate power. It manifests power, and it manifests power through an arch form using the right-hand rule. What this means by implication, and don't ask me the answer, because if I said I knew, I would be lying. I would probably be locked up or filthy rich or both if I knew that answer. I've spent more than a couple, 3 years thinking about it, because everything operates off of the right-hand rule. Is that with a given specific field geometry, power manifestation, without all our ideations of input, means that we could manifest power with a field form geometry. Just as Tesla's arch form geometry, when it is given an input, manifests power, but there is no, in the case of nuclear or wind or hydroelectric, there is not a generation or a exchange of energy between the two. People will say, well, potential energy, kinetic energy. Well, that's ridiculous. That's as stupid as saying this rock, which I'm not inputting or outputting from it, down here it has no energy, but if I put it up here and drop it, all of a sudden it has energy. And you and I were all taught that stuff in school, that kinetic energy is potential energy, but everything, of course, operates off of field torsion. When I place the rock up here, I didn't give it any potential energy. What I've created is a greater potential of torsion between the mutual mass acceleration between the Earth and this rock. But that is not imbuing this rock with energy by lifting it up and letting it go. And of course, you could attach something to this. And there's actually a neat little device they sell for third world countries that don't have a power grid. And it's something like someone will have to tell me. I've seen it before and how it works. It's very simple. It's like for kids trying to study at night when there's, you can't see anything, there's no power. So how do you study at night? You can't be buying batteries all the time when you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's something like an inertia light. What you do is you pull this string and it pulls this weight up to the top of the room. And as the weight very slowly falls, it spins this gear ratioed pulley, which generates power, which drives a little low power LED light, so kids can study at night. And it's ingenious. You don't need batteries. All you have to do is like every 10 minutes you need to lift the rope back up to the roof of the room or the house or whatever, and it just slowly falls and it generates power. But this means that all power generation, since no AC generator or current so-called energy generating, not generating, they're manifesting, so-called energy generation systems that we use now as stupid human beings that we are, even here in the year 2021, they don't generate power, they manifest it. And they manifest it by means of creating ether torsion. And that ether torsion, of course, manifests power. But it doesn't generate it. Generation means, look up the word, that it's spontaneously creating something. Like I could have a bunch of ingredients here and I could generate a cake by doing something. It's not doing that, it's manifesting it. It's manifesting it out of the ether. There's no direct causal link, true causal link in the case of power generation, between wind to the power it generates, to nuclear to the power it generates, or to hydroelectric, or burning coal, or gasoline, gasoline generator. They manifest it, and that means that all energy generation is field torsion. And with the correct field geometry, which is an arch form, just like Nikola Tesla's AC generator, that means that free energy is not only plausible, not only possible, it is 100% undeniable. And that is irrefutable. Everything, from all the experts on field theory and spending a lot of time burning the wood between my ears, says that this is not theoretical or possible, it's 100% undeniable. Free energy is possible. Don't ask me what the answer is, because if I said I knew, I would be a lying fool. I'm not going to do that. I try to be rational, logical, and wisdom above all else. But I actually find that that reality, that undiscovered reality, which is what it is, undiscovered country. That undiscovered country, it sounds like a Star Trek. Isn't that Undiscovered Country, the title of a Star Trek movie? That undiscovered country, absolutely fascinating. That means humanity, unless humanity destroys itself, is on the brink of free energy discovery, because I know it's real. Absolutely everything says it. I'm not like wishing or hoping or deluding myself that it exists. I know it is. because all current power generation is not generation at all, it is power manifestation. It doesn't generate the power itself. That field geometry arch form causes power to manifest. It itself does not generate power. Someone says, well, you've got a distinction there without a difference. No, it's a distinction with a difference, not without. Anyway, I wanted to make this video. I've been spending a lot of time. And I do have a lab in the basement. I make all sorts of stuff. That's why my house is so cluttered. It's not dirty. I'm always building and constructing things. I got all sorts of machines behind this camera too. There is a machine over there, there's a huge machine there, a bunch of machines in the basement. I love discovery and invention. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.